in the event of an emergency. 2 doors on your left, also another one at the front of council chambers. We would exit the building, cross Middle Road, and wait for further instruction at the school administration building. And with that, if we could all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence for our men and women serving in harm's way. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, just a little bit more housekeeping. We are live streaming. So those of you who are participating via Zoom, or if you're calling in on your phone, *9 will indicate you have a question. *6 will allow you to mute and unmute your phone. If you're on Zoom, there's an icon for you to raise your hand. When called upon, please state your name and address for the town clerk. And okay, let us go with our roll call.
Ms. Abbott? Here. Mr. Gleason?
Here.
Mr. Hamilton?
I am here.
Mr. Levesque?
Here.
Dr. Ryan?
Here.
Mr. Aguirre?
Here. Okay, next, President's executive summary. Prior to tonight's council meeting, we did have an executive session under Rhode Island General Law 4246(5)(a)(2), sessions pertaining to collective bargaining or litigation, or work sessions pertaining to collective bargaining or litigation fire. No votes were taken during executive session. Okay, we're going to move on to our presentation recognition. We have proclamation of appreciation and recognition of the retirements of Barbara Ripa and Leon Lozinski. I will first start with Miss Barbara Ripa. You could join me at the podium.
That's what she wants to do.
She's got her speech ready. Hold on.
Got to memorize it. She can put it down.
The proclamation of congratulations. The town council, on behalf of the citizens of the town of Portsmouth, wish to extend our thanks and appreciation to Barbara Ripa on the occasion of her retirement following. Do I have to start over?
Yeah.
I'm going to start over. Bob.
Okay,
This never gets old.
no,
The town council, on behalf of the citizens of the town of Portsmouth, wishes to extend our thanks and appreciation to Barbara Ripa on the occasion of her retirement following her many years of dedicated public service at the Portsmouth Town Hall. For her service October 6th, 1997 to June 30th, 2024. The town council recognizes your many accomplishments and congratulates and thanks you for your untiring efforts on behalf of our community. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the town council of the town of Portsmouth, not only for itself, but on behalf of the citizens of this community, salute Barbara Ripa. On the occasion of her retirement from public service, and order this proclamation presented on this 24th day of June 2024, in recognition whereof I, as president of the Portsmouth Town Council, have hereby set my hand and caused the seal of the town of Portsmouth, Rhode Island, to be hereunto affixed this 24th day of June 24.
thank you so much.
There we go. This is our town tile.
It's beautiful. I love it. Thank you so much for all the effort. Thank you so
Well,
much.
nope,
every-
we're not done.
Oh dear.
We. We also have, on behalf of the Senate, a Senate citation.
Oh,
I'll do my best to represent Senator Ujifuzu. What's that? Oh, my gosh. I wasn't prepared for this. The Senate citation, be it hereby known to all that the Rhode Island Senate hereby offers its sincerest congratulations to Barbara Ripa, Administrative Assistant, in recognition of the joyous occasion and celebration of your retirement from the town of Portsmouth with 27 years of dedicated service. The entire membership extends its very best wishes on this memorable occasion and express the hope for continued good fortune. Proposed this 24th day of June 2024 at the State House in Providence, Rhode Island. And it's signed by the President of the Senate, Dominic Ruggiero, Senator Linda Ujafuza, and Majority Ryan Pierce.
Thank you. Why, thank you so much.
I don't think we're done. I don't think we're done. I don't think we're done.
Also throw in.
Yes. Please.
Please step up to the microphone.
Thank you. Yes, I've been watching. Okay, so on behalf of the House of Representatives, we too would like to offer you this citation. Be it hereby known to all that the Rhode Island House of Representatives hereby offers its sincerest congratulations to Barbara Ripa, Town of Portsmouth, Rhode Island, in recognition of your retirement after many years of dedicated and faithful service to the people of the town of Portsmouth as the administrative assistant to the town administrator. And that too is signed by Speaker Shikarchi, Leader Blazewski, and myself, Terry Cortfriend, Rep. Michelle McGaw, and Rep. Susan Donovan.
Wonderful.
And
Thank you so
we-
much.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
Wonderful. Thank you. Rowan, thank you, everybody. Oh, thank you. Well, I will say thank you so much, everyone, much more than I could have asked for. I leave with very mixed emotions, as you all know, and I won't say too much more because I will start. But it's just been wonderful working here most of the time anyway. And so I never expected to get the job when I got it, and it was such a surprise. I hope I've done well for the town. I've tried my best. Yeah, that's about all I can say. I've met some wonderful people, too many of which have gone already. And thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Leon, come on up, sir. All right. Our next proclamation of congratulations. The Town Council, on behalf of the citizens of the town of Portsmouth, wish to extend our thanks and appreciation to Leon Lisinski on the occasion of his retirement following his many years of dedicated public service as the Portsmouth Planning Board Administrative Officer for his service June 8th, 2011 to June 30th, 2024. The Town Council recognizes your many accomplishments and congratulates and thanks you for your untiring efforts on behalf of our community. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Town Council of the Town of Portsmouth, not only for itself, but on behalf of the citizens of this community, salute Leon Lisinski on his occasion of his retirement from public service and order this proclamation presented on this 24th day of June 2024. In recognition whereof, I, as President of the Portsmouth Town Council, have hereby set my hand and caused the seal of the Town of Portsmouth, Rhode Island, to be hereto affixed this 24th day of June 2024. Here is your.
Thank you. And hold on. Okay, have our town tile for you. Thank you for your many years of service. And I believe there's more.
Come on up. I won't have to impersonate you this time.
You
I-
guys started on time, my goodness.
Oh, Barbara was
What-
had us on time.
Holy schmoly. That's why I delivered the certificate earlier, just in case that I was late, but I was, thank you, Barbara. Yes, so this is a Senate citation. Be it hereby known to all that the Rhode Island Senate hereby offers its sincerest congratulations to Leon Lazinski in recognition of your dedication to the town of Portsmouth since 2011. The entire membership extends its very best wishes on this memorable occasion and expresses the hope for continued good fortune. And this is signed by Senate President, Majority Leader, and me as the senator from Portsmouth. So Leon, thank you so much.
We're not done yet. Hold on.
Leon, congratulations. On behalf of the Rhode Island State House, I want to submit this citation from the House of Representatives. It says, "Be it hereby known to all that the Rhode Island House of Representatives hereby offers its sincerest congratulations to Leon Lazinski, Town of Portsmouth, Rhode Island, in recognition of your retirement after many years of dedicated and faithful service to the people of the Town of Portsmouth, Rhode Island, as the Portsmouth Planning Board Administrative Officer. The entire membership extends its very best wishes on this memorable occasion and expresses the hope for continued good fortune given this 24th day of June, 2024. It's signed by the Speaker of the House, Joseph Shikarchi, the Leader, Chris Blazajewski, the Minority Leader, Mike Chippendale, and myself, Michelle McGaugh, and Terry Corcoran, the State Representatives for Portsmouth.
Floor is yours.
I never received this kind of attention on any other job I've ever had. Yeah, I've enjoyed working here for the past 13 years. We have a fine group of people here working at the town hall, made work here a lot easier. And my age is catching up to me, and it's time I really retire. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. We will move on to our consent agenda.
Move to approve as presented.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Next, we'll be sitting as the Board of License Commissioners. First item is a peddler's license, mobile food establishment, new, James Appel, DBA Jerry's Food Concessions, 8171 Ravana Lake Drive, Boynton Beach, Florida.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Motion to adjourn as the Board of License Commissioners.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0, 6-0, sorry. Next, we have minutes from our June 10th meeting.
Mr. President, move they be approved as printed.
Second.
I'll be abstaining. I was not here that night. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0-1. Okay. Next, we have our town administrators report. Mr. Rayner?
Good evening, Mr. President, Town Council, ladies and gentlemen. A promotion and swearing in ceremony for the fire department was held last Friday evening at the Secana Sportsman's Club. 4 officers were promoted to battalion chief: Stephen Lynch, Kyle Texera, Mark Reimels, and Alan Levesque. 3 officers were promoted to captain: Andrew Jones, Michael Lopes, and Joshua Barabee. And 2 firefighters were promoted to lieutenant: Joseph Borquin and Nicholas Linacree. Additionally, we swore in 5 firefighters and 2 firefighter dispatchers. So congratulations to all those promoted and selected for service in the Portsmouth Fire Department. The landscaping at the north end of Town Hall has been removed and the stone foundation at the northeast corner of the building has been exposed. So some may have noticed the musky smell in the building. That is a result of the ongoing work. A French drain has been installed and gunite will be applied to the foundation wall this week. Once the gunite is cured, waterproofing will be installed and then the trench will be backfilled and landscaping will be planted as coordinated between the landscaper and the Portsmouth Garden Club. With respect to Sandy Point Beach parking, there's been some confusion regarding resident parking at Sandy Point. Parking is free to residents with beach pass stickers. 2 stickers per household are available for free at the town clerk's office. And a beach sticker is not required for vehicles that are displaying a valid transfer station sticker. We have emphasized this to the gate attendants and hopefully that'll resolve some of the issues we've been having over the last 2 weeks. As a reminder, the town clerk office is open 8:30 to 4:30 Monday through Wednesday, 8:30 to 6:30 p.m. on Thursday, and 8:30 to 2:30 p.m. on Fridays. And then lastly, just a reminder that the second town council meeting in July has been canceled, and we have encouraged as many staff as possible to take leave while still maintaining customer service. That concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Rayner. Okay, moving on, we've got resignations and appointments. First is a resignation from the Economic Development Committee for Mr. Brian Cornwell.
Mr. President, I move that we accept with regret the resignation of Brian Cornwell from the Economic Development Committee.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Next, it's resignation from the Housing Authority for Mr. Ron Harnois.
Move to accept with regret. Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
And Mr. President, I'm recusing from that. I am currently their legal counsel,
Okay,
but I didn't think it was necessary for me to run out of the room.
okay. Motion
Would have been
passes
frightening.
5-0. And then next, it's a resignation from the Planning Board for Miss Nora Kane.
Move to accept with regret. Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Okay. Moving on, old business. First item is a senior center update. Mr. Rayner.
Sure. Just give Barbara a second to get the slides displayed. So good evening. I was asked at the last meeting to provide an update regarding the senior center project. This update was also provided at the Portsmouth Senior Center by Church Community Housing earlier this month. The picture you see up on the screen is the conceptual rendering shown to the town in 2021. The proposed plan is virtually identical except for the ball field, which was cost ineffective at the site. The 2 issues we had to face were the topography of the land, which would have required 10-foot retaining walls on the outer edges of the ball field, and the soil conditions at the site, which required redesigns of the septic system. We have since secured use of 1 and likely 2 superior ball fields at the Navy's Car Point Recreation Facility located at Burma Road. The Little League has been notified and they are very happy with that arrangement. Next slide, please. So this slide depicts the site as it currently exists. The Ann Hutchinson School and the Portsmouth Multipurpose Senior Center are colored in yellow, and the existing ball field is depicted in green. So if we go to the next slide, please. This is the proposed site plan. The non-shaded portion is considered phase A1 and 2. Phase A1 will be the completion of the new senior center, followed by a move into the new building by the existing Portsmouth Senior Center. Phase A2 will immediately follow, and that will be the demolition of the 1950s addition to the Ann Hutchinson School and the completion of the 54 affordable senior housing units, which will be called the Ade Bethune House, the Ade Bethune House. This is depicted in orange on the drawing. Phase B is the conversion of the former Ann Hutchinson Schoolhouse into market rate condos. The proceeds from the condo sales are intended to be reinvested into the senior housing development. The schoolhouse is depicted in yellow on the drawing. Phase C is the shaded area at the bottom left of the drawing. This area will be leased back to the town for $1 per month for future recreational use. The lease back will occur immediately following execution of the ground lease for the entire parcel. The ground lease is being prepared for council approval later this summer. Next slide, thank you. The area at the top left of this drawing is where the ball field currently exists. It was originally envisioned that this would become the site of the new septic system. Unfortunately, site conditions required the septic system to be proposed as depicted here in blue. The area where the ball field is now will be utilized for a bioretention pond. That's a shallow landscape depression designed to capture and treat stormwater runoff. Next slide, please. After review, the Rhode Island Department of Environmental Management required a further redesign of the septic system or the on-site wastewater treatment system. And the final design proposed the final design proposal is depicted here in blue. The plan is currently in a 21-day comment period, after which any issues raised will be resolved, and then DEM will give the septic system their final approval. Next slide. Okay. Here's the illustrative plan showing the senior center broken out as condo space. This is the orangish to reddish area to the right, and the shared amenity space. The owner of the housing development will enter a long-term service agreement with the senior center organization to manage the entire senior center space, the condo and the shared amenity. Next slide, please. So Church Community worked with the Senior Center Advisory Group, the director of the Senior Center, and the chair of the Senior Center Board to devise a plan for the new Senior Center. This is the layout that was designed. The Senior Center will include a director's office, a main office, a thrift shop, a fitness center, a conference room, a game room, a reception area, a library, a multi-purpose room, a dining room, and a kitchen. Next slide, please. So in September of 2021, the Ann Hutchinson School redevelopment plan was presented at the high school auditorium. Next slide, please. That presentation included the design concept for the senior center portion of the development and the area the town would have utilized for a ball field had we not encountered the septic and topography issues. Next slide, please. So here we have the conceptual design that was briefed in 2021 with what the final design is on the right. With the exception of the modified layout designed by Church Community and the Senior Center Group, there is virtually no difference between the concept and the final design. Next slide, please. Here is an enlargement of the conceptual design of the senior center area of the development as seen from Bristol Ferry Road. This is what was briefed to the council and presented at that meeting in 2021. Next slide, please. And here is what was designed, or what is designed, also as viewed from Bristol Ferry Road. The design incorporates more windows and includes details regarding siding and exterior work. Otherwise, it is practically exactly as described and discussed almost 3 years ago. Next slide, please. This is the design of the development looking at the south side of the building. So if you were standing on Brownell Lane after the completion of this building, this is how it would look. Next slide, please. Here is the rear of the building as it will be seen from the future bioretention area. And as we continue going around the building, this is what the north side of the building will look like. And you see the senior center area is now the ground floor on the left side of this picture. So next steps. Church Community is awaiting final DEM approval of the septic design. We expect preparatory foundation work to begin shortly. The ground lease will be presented for execution by the council later this summer. The Technical Review Committee will meet one more time to review the final plan, after which the Planning Department will grant administrative final plan approval, and then construction will begin. That is my update, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Rayner. Any questions from council members? Okay.
Mary McDowell, 94 Point Road, Portsmouth. First of all, congratulations to the retirees. Public service is not an easy path, so I honor you and commend you for your service and dedication. My questions in May, when I spoke, were shorter and more directed. I have had a few weeks to delve more into this, and now my comments and questions might be more time consuming than at that time. And I do appreciate the presentation from Mr. Rayner for clarity. However, it still leaves some questions for me. Having served in town government for 8 years on the select board in Granby, Mass, I certainly understand the issues involved in communicating to the citizens on pressing issues that involve specific town populations. However, I will say that researching this senior citizen issue has been difficult for me. Unfortunately, it hasn't, getting research and doing things hasn't been easy. If anyone is wondering why I have an interest in the senior citizens, I'll add the following. First of all, look at my hair. And second, I have always felt that the seniors get the short end of the stick in town government. Yet in most cases, they have given the most to our community through property ownership, involvement in various town committees, and their own personal time. As a select board member in the town of Granby, I was instrumental in securing a new building for our seniors. They were in a building too that was condemned, mice droppings galore, uneven floors, limited access for programming. With the help of another board member, we were able to secure a building for the town for the seniors. Having said all that, I am concerned about the progress of the new senior facility that was sold to voters in November 2021. If I read everything correctly, the plan that was proposed and sold to the citizens has changed considerably since the fall of 2021. And I realize that in the presentation, it doesn't sound like that. And that very well may be true. And I'm asking for your help in having me understand this. Citizens of Portsmouth voted on information that was presented at the high school and other meetings that I think has changed as of June 2024. Citizens were told by the church community housing developer that the baseball fields would be reallocated on the property. CCH has now stated the ball fields, and Mr. Rayner has also, that they are being removed entirely because of complications to the site. I understand that, but the citizens were told that at the time. CCH said that they were going to build 4 market rate condos in the historic portion of Ann Hutchinson School. CCH said this would be done first, and the money used from the sale of these condos would go to the fund to fund the rest of the project. CCH most recently denied ever making those statements during their presentation before the ballot vote, and it's not happening. Seniors of Portsmouth, I believe, were misled into thinking they would get priority for housing in informational meetings prior to the vote. This does not seem to be the case. If it is the case, really, I'd like to know that. CCH keeps stating that Portsmouth is getting a new senior center, but in actuality, it seems, but again, it might be different from seeing what was presented tonight. They are getting an office unit that the town has to buy, and seniors will share common amenities rooms with residents. That's an important thing for me, because when you share common amenities rooms with residents of a housing, that's not the priority. The seniors will not be given the priority. I can assure you of that. It's the housing that will be given the priority for that space, I think. Again, I hope I'm proven wrong. And just to go back for a little historical perspective, my main concern is what was approved by the council on August 10th, 2021 was this. Shall I transfer a property interest in the so-called Ann Hutchinson School property at 110 Bristol Ferry Road for the purpose of developing elderly affordable housing, a new senior facility, and the possible redevelopment of the original Ann Hutchinson School building be approved? That was voted on by the council and approved to send forward to the voters. When the voters received information through the mail, it said the ballot will look like this. Shall I transfer a property interest in the so-called Ann Hutchinson School property at 110 Bristol Ferry Road for the purposes of developing elderly affordable housing and a new home for the Portsmouth Senior Center be approved? Something changed between the approval of the council referendum on August 10th and the ballot, and I believe, and I hope I'm wrong, something has changed from the ballot vote until now. So those are my concerns. I know that the presentation was hopefully going to clarify some of that, but I'm not sure it has for me. But if you have comments, I would love to hear them. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McDonald.
I'd like to follow up, if I may, on Ms. McDowell's comments. Mary Ellen Martin, 21 Massachusetts Boulevard. Very well, oh, sure. Very well said by Ms. McDowell. She raised many of the same concerns that I have, but a follow-up, I believe, Mr. Rayner, you said part of the plan now is with the removal of the ball fields, there's going to be some area that's going to be developed into a recreational facility. This was never part of Church Community's presentation to the public, nor the presentation before the town council or in any documents that I have seen. I don't understand how you can state that it's a minor change. All the plan is the same as what the voters approved when there are clearly substantial changes. And it is clearly not what the voters approved. I don't understand how Church Community at this point is being allowed to move forward with this project.
Can I just ask you for clarification?
Yeah.
So is the substantial change you're referring to the ball field versus a, at this point, not really defined recreational piece?
I'm going to add on to what Ms. McDowell said. Substantial changes. As you know, the ballot question read that it'll be a new senior center facility. They're not getting a facility. They're simply getting an office space with shared amenities with a housing complex. The ballot question also read elderly affordable housing. According to Church Community, I attended the senior center meeting that Church Community presented the updated plan, and they're calling it senior housing. And I believe there's a substantial differential between elderly and senior. And as Ms. McDowell said, our seniors at the Portsmouth Senior Center believe that they are going to have referred treatment in terms of getting priority in housing there, and that's simply not the case. They were told at that meeting they have to put their name on a list, and Church Community so that they could email them. What list? We don't know. Part of Church Community's presentation to the town council and the follow-up town-wide presentation at the high school, they had given some documents with sort of a checklist of things that they were presenting. And one of the items on the checklist is to create housing affordable for Portsmouth seniors. And they are unable to answer that question for the seniors. In addition, They also presented that they were going to save the historic portion of the Ann Hutchinson School. We don't know what's becoming of that school. According to church community, during that presentation at the senior center a few weeks back, they are not developing the market rate condos. And their intention is to turn the building back over to the town. So we do not know where that stands. And again, that was a major factor in the presentation and a major influencer to the voters that piece of property be preserved. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and would anyone else like to comment? Is there anyone here from the senior center board? No? Okay. Is there anyone online? I just wanted to know if there was anyone online.
Okay. There are, but no questions.
No questions. Okay.
Excuse me,
Yes.
President, there is a board member here. I don't know if she chooses to speak or not. They're asking if there's a board member, yourself, if you would like to speak.
I was just asking if there were any further comments from anyone. I just didn't know if anyone else wanted to comment. You don't have to. I mean, if you want to come up and speak, you can. I was just asking a question.
I'm Margie Ratte. We just had an election today, so I'm back on the board at the senior center. At the senior center, all of us who were on the board now, and not when everything began about, the senior center and the building. The only person that knew anything about what was going on there was our chairman of the board, Mrs. Helen Matthew, and Cindy Konecki, the person in charge of that. And so all of us on the board never heard anything about what was going on, what was coming in, what was going out. I guess because we weren't privy to it. I don't know. But this last meeting at the lodge, wherever that was, we just heard everything that was said about it. And it was everything except they were not going to have, the ballpark like they said they were going to keep. And we don't know anything about the transition period, which we, need to know, like, how many, what can we take, or are there going to be shelves and desks and things for everything in the senior center and also in the thrift shop, because we have a really good money-making thrift shop right now. We're making lots of money for everything that we do at the thrift shop. So right now we don't really know everything that's going on exactly. We hear, things from the guy from church, I forget his name, Mr. Belden. And we have to call him in order to find out about what we're going to take over there with shelving and units. And like, we can't have many windows because we need a lot of wall space for all of our stuff that we're going to have to sell. And we don't really know yet what kind of windows, because that was never addressed, because the person didn't, even think about that way in the beginning. But we're just like learning what's happening now. So, I mean, I'm just listening to what y'all are saying. And if I have any problems, I will surely get back with you. I don't mind calling you. So if you hear from me, I hope you do answer your phone. Yes. Oh, my address is 28 Cromwell Drive
So
in
Be careful.
Portsmouth.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you dropped your glasses. There we go.
Yes, I know.
So I just want, is Miss Matthew no longer involved?
Oh, yeah, she's still, we're going to have elections for the person in charge of the board in a few days. So we hope to have somebody else in charge of the board, and we
Okay.
probably will.
And is Cindy still?
Oh, yeah, she's still the
So-
one in charge, the paid employee over there. Yeah.
Right, so, and have you talked to them about the plan?
I can't
The
tell you how many
consistency?
times I've talked to them and I get, well, we don't really have any information on this. And I can't tell you how big anything is. And then I go down the hall and somebody else is asking that question and they're digging out the plans that they have. It's really a funny experience over there right now, but we're gonna settle it up and see what we
Right.
can do with it.
I do know that there was an advisory board that they were a part of
Yeah,
that worked with church community.
yeah, Helen.
Yeah.
Helen.
No,
yeah.
that they, was
Yes.
Helen worked with church community.
Yeah.
And I was led, and I think everybody feels that there was a working group that, and I attended some of the meetings to make sure that things were being incorporated. And I believe, just from my own opinion, just seeing things, there are a lot of similarities to what was presented with the layout and the concept. I would agree that there's a change with the ball field.
Yeah.
I believe at the time, there was discussions about the ball field could have been subject to the final layout of the septic system. And
Okay.
I think what has happened with that process is the septic system, what was more important, the septic system for the community center or the ball field? I think the septic system is a little more important. And so that took the priority.
Mhm.
And so there, I think we're going down the avenue now to, investigate what options are for that piece that's the athletic piece. But I think that was really more for Little League games as opposed to
Yeah.
the seniors going out.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's a
Yeah.
field, but now maybe the seniors would have more opportunity in that rec space and maybe there's something there that could be worked in. I think there's still, maybe it's a wait and see. But
Well, we have an exercise room inside as it shows on your plans.
Yep.
And the only thing that that the seniors used to play was bocce outside.
Yep.
And they have a walking group and they have exercise inside, also. I tell you, I probably wouldn't use an outside exercise facility there. I mean, I don't know,
everybody's got their choice.
yeah, that's right.
okay.
And I mean, why spend a lot of money on something that maybe only a couple people would use?
Okay.
It would be nice if we had like all the equipment they have down in Newport. They have adult toys, adult
adult,
things to work on. Now that looks cute, but that doesn't take up a lot of space. I mean, we could still have a ball field, I would think. Doesn't have to be in the same location. You could probably figure out something, I would hope.
We did. We actually
Ah.
found a place that we actually have made a swap and we actually have the opportunity for 2 ball fields now.
Oh,
So-
that's great.
So the Little League field there's no loss of a Little League field. There's still accommodations for the
Okay,
Little League
okay.
field.
Well,
So
that's good. That's what
Little
I was
Little
worried
League
about.
the Little League's in good hands.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mr. Levesque.
Thank you. First,
Oh.
Mr. Administrator, could you, hi, Ken.
Hi.
Could you advise as to whether or not, I've heard it a couple of times, there's a plan to turn back a building there to the town of Portsmouth?
It was always briefed that the church community housing would do the Ann Hutchinson building second. The reason they would have to do that second is because they're going to knock down the addition, the 1950s addition. When they do that, the senior center has to have already been moved. So they got to complete the senior center, then they knock down the 1950s addition, and then the original schoolhouse will be converted to market rate housing. That has always been briefed that they will do that as economically feasible. I literally just talked to Christian Belden on Friday, and that is still the plan.
Thank you. I'll
Thank you,
defer to Ms. Gleason.
Thank you. Karen Gleason, 63 Massasoit Avenue. So I'm sorry, I was interrupted a little bit. The plan for the schoolhouse is still going to be renovated?
That's always been the plan, to renovate the schoolhouse into market rate housing. Any profit that would be made from the schoolhouse would be plowed back into the investment into the affordable housing units that are being built, the 54 housing units.
Okay, so how many condos? Is it 4 to 6?
4 to 6, I believe. is what the
Okay,
plan
and
is.
so the money that's sold that they earn from that would be turned in towards the 54 unit?
That would be used to offset the cost of the building, the development of the affordable housing units that are going to be built in the Ade Bethune House.
Okay, so I had a question about the current lease between the senior center membership and the town. Do you have the date that it expires?
I know where you're going with this. Yes, there is a lease between the senior center and the town. We're doing everything we can to ensure that there's no interruption in service. This is how this started. This all started when there was an assessment made of the building, and the building is not, it's not an appropriate place for congregation. We had to close off the second floor. We had to close off the Ann Hitchison House. We had an engineering inspection done of the 1950s building. There are cracks in the walls. The concrete ceiling can collapse. We have to do something about this. There's sewer gas being pumped into the building. There are major problems, as been briefed to the council multiple times.
And-
As a matter of fact, that was briefed to the council the same night in August that this plan was presented to you.
Right. That was the
Mr.
decision.
Rayner, I just asked you about the
get
date
it.
of the
I
lease.
get it. The whole point here is that we're somehow violating a lease with the Portsmouth Senior Center.
I did not
I
indicate
don't know the
that.
dates off the top of my head. I can
Okay.
gladly look that up, but the
All right.
point is.
No, that's
is that
really,
we're-
that's what I
they
wanted
will
to
Get
know.
a new lease.
I wanted to know. So whatever that date is, you're expecting to have some type of new lease with some oversight rules for the, whatever you want to call that, shared space. Is that correct?
Exactly, it was briefed, and it's been briefed multiple times that the CDBG funding that has been awarded to Church Community Housing would be used to purchase the town-owned condo, which we turned over to the Portsmouth Senior Center. That Portsmouth condo portion will be adjunct to the shared community space, which has been briefed already to the council. The directors of the senior center get to decide what the scheduling is for those spaces. It will be used as the senior center.
Okay,
you,
is
Mr.
there a cost associated with the condo?
No, well, there is to church community, but there's no cost to the town.
They're giving it to you for free?
Yes, that's been briefed since the beginning.
Okay. Then I had another question, but you went on and on.
Okay.
Wait a minute, it'll come to me. Do you want to go, Mr. Levesque?
No,
I'll
I
stay
think
here.
I think I'll run it. Let me just, if you've got questions, you can make your questions, Ms. Gleason. Okay, if you've got questions, let's.
Okay, I might come back.
Well, this won't go on forever. No, I know it's my meeting. Yep. Cynthia. Okay. 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 Let's go to Cynthia.
Cynthia, if you can hear me, I've unmuted you so that you can speak.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
All right, just want to address Madra Tay, that when she was talking about we're not explaining to the board or what's going on when we went to meetings. We did as much as we could and gave as much information that was given to us to give to the board. And then it kind of like died down. And I did not want to give out any false information because then it starts rumors. So I will not say anything unless I know the truth about it. And there's so many things that are going on that we're jumping to like 2 or 3 years from now. And we need to, discuss what's going on now and what will be, in the near future. But to go with furniture and stuff like that, I don't know how that plays a part right now in the planning of the senior center right now.
Okay. Thank you, Cindy.
But we are not hiding anything.
Thank you. Okay, so let's go back to Ms. Gleason. Ms. Gleason, if you have some questions, we'll go through.
It's a quick statement.
fine.
That's all.
Okay.
So based on my previous, well, I'm retired, I'm a retired social worker from the state of Rhode Island. And I've been to many, many housing units. And just have overall concern regarding what type of 54 unit this is going to be, what it entails, the population that's going to reside there. And then we have our older seniors, which I happen to be one now. So I just want to make sure going forward that we really prioritize our seniors in the whole scheme of things. I don't want them to be in a situation that this becomes, I'll just throw it out there, a social service program that our seniors are going to have to intervene, and I don't want that to happen. It just can't happen. So I just putting that out there.
Define a
you.
social service program that they're gonna have to intervene on.
I'm sorry.
Explain yourself. What is a social service
Social
program that they're
service
gonna have to
program,
intervene on?
depending on the population that live in the 50
Population is gonna be the senior population
Well,
and senior
you define senior for me.
50 plus, 55 plus,
Okay, so
not 18-year-olds.
elderly versus seniors, two
Mhm.
different things.
Sure.
So I want to make sure that the town council really knows what they're getting themselves into going forward with a lease agreement or overall rules. We need to make sure that, well, I'm going to try to make sure that's my priority is our seniors, our elderly population in town.
Since we've started down this road, I don't want to speak for the entire council because the entire council wasn't here at that point in time. Our only mission is to make sure we take care of the seniors in the senior center. Period. Regardless of what has been put out there in the public space, that we're not looking out for the seniors. We have no interest in helping the seniors. We don't want to have any recreation for the seniors. It's all false. Everything we've done is to try and get a new space for our senior citizens in the senior center, period.
I get what you're saying and I appreciate that. I'm just going a little bit further. I don't want to put them in a situation that causes any jeopardy or, there's so many issues that are coming towards them. I'm just laying that out now and then them feeling like they're obligated to take care of those issues that happen at the residential place. I don't want them to think that that's what they have to
They
do.
have no dealings other than the fact that it's a shared building with the residents.
Which could become problems.
It
Just
won't
letting
become
you know.
problems. Right, anything could become a problem, but it won't.
I think Ms. McDowell kind of alluded to that, having experience and the experience that I have had working with different populations.
Okay.
Thank you.
I just, Mr. Levesque, did you want to follow? Okay, okay.
Nancy Grieve, 110 Thayer Drive. Let me say, I attended the senior center meeting in May, and I believe that the confusion comes from Mr. Belden. Mr. Belden stated with the US economy the way it is, they have no intention of building the market rate condos, and they do plan to turn the Ann Hutchinson School back to the town. He did say it, and I don't know why I did it. I have it on video.
Thank you. Mr. Levesque.
So, couple of things first. The woman Matthew, that was former Senator Helen Matthew, who was in fact worked for the town forever as a state senator. She was actually a political rival of mine, but everybody is. Her mother, Josephine Furtado, was in fact for a while the senior center. Okay, they have an allegiance to that facility that goes beyond anything. I actually go back, Mr. Hamilton, perhaps you were there, when Huck Little and some other people were banging nails in the place trying to set up the senior center and had paintbrushes. That senior center was an accident, a catastrophe waiting to happen when I was on the council in 1990. Okay, we wouldn't go to the second floor, period. We couldn't get one of our building inspectors to go to the second floor because it was so unsafe. What's up, Peter?
Hey,
My meeting.
I know it goes through you, but I mean, he gets up like he's got something to say, something.
I think Mr. Roberts was gonna wait to see if you finished.
Peter Roberts, 80 Armount Avenue. First of all, Henry F. Anthony School, when was that built?
Huh?
When was it built?
The original
Henry-
And
building,
it's still here being used. Okay? Now we got a school down there in Portsmouth Park. When was that built? Around the same time as this one that you're talking about. And if you gotta replace a ceiling or a roof, put a roof over it, take it apart, and your roof is done. There's nothing to it.
Peter, that's not accurate.
We're talking. No, it is
No, that's not
accurate.
All right,
accurate.
here we go.
That building had to have a major rehabilitation.
Yeah,
Uh,
it did, but it's
become
still
the-
the same building.
But we're
But
not,
it's
gentlemen,
not
we're not here to
in how-
discuss.
What would you know about it?
I used to be in that
You
building.
wouldn't
I'll-
know
I'll
anything
tell you.
about it. And I worked on different buildings, like down in Florida. I worked on a Veterans Hospital and we had to redo the whole roof, and that's the way we had to do it with patients on the floor below us. We had to take it out, but we put a roof on top of it first. Yes, there are ways to do this. Right now, what's being done isn't the way to rebuild this building and keep it there. And another thing with this building is being shut down because no sprinkler system was put in it. And it was up to this town to put the sprinkler system in when it was time to, and they didn't do it. All right, this town is blamed for everything. Fix the building and let the seniors have it. And by the way, I'm 75, I'm a senior, all right? That's what it's all about. It's not about people who are 55.
Right, and I'm 69 and I'm a senior and I'm a pepper. So this plan is so beautiful and accomplishes so much. And I am tired of people coming up here and saying somehow we've been misleading people on bonds. We haven't. We told you exactly what we're gonna do. Is there sometimes a difference between proposal and completion? Yeah. Yeah, that happens whenever you're building, right? This proposal was getting rid of a white elephant that we couldn't have sold, we couldn't have given away. Don't shake your head. I know it's true, and I'm not looking
All right.
at, oh, Peter.
All right,
we're
no, no, no.
crying out loud.
I know.
But anyway, I knew it because I was on the council. And we were trying to figure out a way to get rid of the building and still take care of our seniors.
Thank you.
This plan is a perfect, nothing is perfect. It is a very good plan. It was properly brought to the people of the town who supported it. And quite frankly, no matter what are you gonna do? Go back in time? Are you gonna try and stop everything that's being done? Is that the theory right now? No, no.
Thank you, Mr. Levesque. Ms. McDowell, do you have something new?
I think so.
Okay,
One doesn't
Right.
know, though.
all right.
I just
We'll be
want to
brief.
kind of redirect us back to my initial,
Yeah.
my initial thought between, and this is nothing to say about things change. Definitely things change in municipalities. So I'm very aware of that. But 2 points. One is the approved council referendum or ballot on November 2nd. And then the information that was sent to the voters that seems very different, a little different on to approve or reject. It's not the same. And the informational sessions didn't seem to be the same. So I'm just concerned, maybe the town solicitor can help me out here. Is that customary procedure to have the resolution so different than the ballot question and the information sessions that happen at the high school and stuff? Is that common practice?
Man, was that 2 years ago?
It was,
So are you questioning something that happened 2 years ago and
Well-
want to figure out what we should do right now?
No,
about it?
I'm just saying that this is something that we should really look at today going forward with our town. If the council approves something and then it changes I'm concerned about that, sir.
Mr.
I'm
President,
Let me
concerned.
just get, hold on one
So
second.
all I want is the
Yep.
solicitor to maybe clarify something for me.
And I think so I understand, you're saying that you feel that the resolution that the council approved
On August
on
10th.
August 10th
Yeah.
is different than what was on the ballot?
And the informational sessions that accompanied that. I'm just saying, I think so, but
Okay.
it looks that way. I mean, I'm not
Okay.
a lawyer, but
Let's,
can maybe
on the
someone
screen, Mr.
speak to that?
President,
we're gonna go to the big screen.
Here's the resolution, and the wording is exactly as you stated.
Yeah,
Go to the next slide, please.
This
Here's
is
the ballot question. The ballot question is exactly identical to the resolution.
okay. So when the information though went out to the voters in first class mail, though, it was slightly different. Will you agree to that?
I don't have that, so I
I
can't
can-
speak to that.
I
I
can
do
give it.
believe
All right.
that this was addressed, however, by the,
I'm just saying.
I don't
All right,
have the.
this
the
will
canvassers
be,
not here.
let's just go to the comments.
This was already addressed by
Yep.
the Board of Canvassers.
Do
Okay,
you understand my point though?
I understand your comment.
Not my point.
Well, I think I might understand your point, but.
Okay.
Mr. President.
If you
so
write
you
to the
understand my
voters,
Reservation?
if you
ma'am?
write to the
Hold on.
voters and
Right.
say that this is what, and you show the thing on it that says reject or approve, and you give a scenario that says this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen, this is gonna, and something is different, I have a problem with that as a
Okay.
citizen, that's all.
Comment noted.
All right, so that's one, all right? My next thing is, I think it's wonderful if this plan that was presented tonight has all those things, the community center, you know, all this space for the seniors, I think it's wonderful. All I'm asking is that in some kind of contract, there is language that says scheduling for these things will prioritize the seniors, because certainly they need that space. If as a council, you would be remiss in not putting some stipulation in there to ensure that they get priority for all this space that that you're talking about. That's all.
Okay.
Okay?
Fair enough.
Information.
Yes, Mr.
About
Levesque.
4 or 5 months ago, Senator Helen Matthews came here at my request and responded to a lot of these questions and talked about how much they enjoyed working with church community and how well they were taking care of the demands and the requirements and the requests from the senior center people. And so, I mean, I am frustrated for 2 reasons. One, you say something was different 2 years ago. And there's been some recent kind of like bubbling up of stuff to suggest that we don't have integrity when we present things to people. Well, ma'am, you can't say something was different and then say, oh, well, everybody was doing their job. If something was different, something was different. I'm telling you that we always do exactly what we try to do, okay? And if we pass a resolution, which apparently happened, we passed a resolution, that's what appeared on the ballot.
That's,
You know, what else do you want, ma'am?
I just
No, no.
want consistency, that's
Okay.
all, sir.
We're gonna move,
Just-
we're
Oh,
gonna
that was
move, we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on. We've had our comments.
Mr. President.
Mr. Aguirre, really, I just have one quick question.
No,
So-
you can make a comment.
A comment. Ms. Matthews said that she loved working with church community housing. I understand that. But here lies the confusion, and this is just one example. Because there are several, but we're not going to get into it.
No.
Mr. Rayner says, we said from day one, we're going to do this market rate condos. All right,
Let's just, can you just,
I'm going as fast as I
No,
can.
but I think we're.
But
just
you're
rehash-
interrupting me. You sound like someone else.
All right.
So, Mr. Rayner, you said that from the beginning, it's market rate condos, 4 to 6. Okay. But we really did go to this meeting back in May, and he said, nope, we're turning the key over to the town, and we're gonna put board up the windows, and that's it. So just
Ms. Gleason, I
telling you
wasn't
my
at that
example
meeting,
of
but I do have him
confusion.
on the phone right now, and this is exactly what he just wrote to me, literally as you were speaking. I said the same thing I always say, if the numbers work, we'll do it. If they don't, we'll give the keys back to the town. Church Community Housing has a strong interest in seeing the Ann Hutchinson School renovated, since it will be right next door to our brand-new senior center and Ade Bethune House development. This is what he's been telling me for 3 years.
Okay, so,
So,
so you clarified if the numbers work.
and that's exactly what he stated in August to the council.
And that's what it says.
Told us in May that it's not gonna happen. We're gonna board up the windows, turn the key over, but that's okay. Now you clarified. Thank you. Thanks.
Mr. Gleason.
I'll only
you-
be 1 minute, 1 minute.
Oh.
I just want to.
This is it. Last
I just want
comment.
to tack on to what was said. Some council members here, I understand, were not present during this time period. I understand you may not have been present, Mr. Levesque, I don't think you were on the council when all this was transpiring. Church Community gave a presentation before the town council, and then there was a public presentation prior to the vote. And he most certainly said, Christian Belden, the director of Church Community, most certainly said that the Ann Hutchinson historic portion of the school will be built first. He needed market rate condos built in that building and to use that money to move on to the rest of the project. That was said. Many of us in this room attended that meeting and we all heard it. And I believe it is on tape at the town council and during that subsequent presentation at the high school. But we're missing the point. You talk about integrity. How about the voters? The voters approved a certain plan and it's not being implemented. Whether there be a minor change, a major change, what the voters approved is not being implemented. That's what is at issue
What
here.
did the voters approve? Specifically, you want, because I'll read the question for you. And I'm just going to read the last part of the question. And the possible redevelopment of the original school building be approved. Possible. That's what the voters approved.
No,
The only thing, yes, that is what the wording is.
I won't be spoken to like that.
Okay, but
I
I'm reading the
will
word.
not be spoken to like
Okay.
that.
That is what the reading is. The possible redevelopment of the original Ann Hutchinson School is what was voted on. The fact that the ball field has been moved is completely separate. We are working and we have worked with Little League to provide them with one, possibly two other fields that both have lighting on them, which is what they're looking to do.
That's irrelevant, what you've been discussing with the Little League. That's completely irrelevant. Again, that is not what the voters approved. They were given a sample ballot question in the mailed to every registered voter. That sample ballot question was wrong. And we were provided with the explanation of what the ballot question entailed. That was challenged before, I believe Mr. Rayner made note of that. That was challenged before the Board of Elections, and they upheld the process that the Board of Canvassing took upon themselves. The town was required to do one or the other, provide the ballot question or provide the explanation. When we got the wrong ballot question, as voters, we were allowed to rely on that explanation. And the explanation referred us to Church Community's presentation before the town council with all the backup documents. And in those backup documents were the preservation of the ball fields and the Ann Hutchinson School. So that is what we truly voted on.
Okay.
Good evening,
City.
Leah Hitchin. I'm the town planner. Like Mr. Levesque, I also came into this project halfway through. Church Community Housing submitted their preliminary plan and was before the planning board back on November 9th, 2022. It was explained to the planning board that the phases were of the following. Phase 1A consisted of the construction of the new senior affordable housing and senior center with associated site work and landscaping. Phase A2 involved the demolition of the one-story addition of the senior center to perform the site work. Phase B is the physical conversion of the Ann Hutchinson Schoolhouse to the 6 market rate condominiums. So it was never informed that that would be the first phase. Phase C is the town component, which will be recreation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hitchin. Okay, Mr. Gleason?
Thank you.
So I'm the liaison to the senior center, and I was not part of the council when this was originally agreed to. I don't believe Council Levesque was on that council either. And to be honest with you, I don't remember us, since I've been here, having a meeting with Mrs. Matthew at the podium. So maybe that was a private conversation, but what I will say is that one of the things that I have on the agenda is a town council update. And I have given very few of those updates because I didn't know what was going on. And pretty much it's been between the town and church community housing. So I did, at the request of the board, call and speak to Mr. Belden. He told me that it was one of the easiest projects he's ever been on. The financing is there. He's ready to put a shovel in the ground. He says we're going to use Bean Brothers, which is a reputable company, et cetera, et cetera. And would you please come and speak to the seniors, which he agreed to do so. So he came before us and updated the committee. And I just bring that to your attention because I think there have been some weakness in the board. They didn't really have anything to share. They didn't know what to share. The drawing had changed a couple of times due to electrical modifications or closet space, et cetera, typical of a building project. But in the end, after he presented it, he did leave some drawings with the chair. And I think we finally convinced her to take them out of the trunk of her car, and they're hanging on the wall of the senior center, which is no easy task. But people have asked, when are we going to see a shovel in the ground? What is the actual building going to look like? So we get those questions. I get those questions. And I still have questions of my own. I still don't know the difference between senior housing, elderly housing, and LMI housing. If anybody can help me with that. Are there limitations to the people that can sign up to get an apartment in this building because of those, names of the different wording that are provided? I don't know. I would suspect there are differences, as there are probably over at Anthony House. People have the impression that they're able to sign a list and they'll be first in to get a new apartment there. I don't know that we're telling the seniors there the truth, because I don't know what the truth is. And I think we owe that to our citizens to explain how this whole process works. Initially, I think the seniors thought they were getting a new senior center. It's separate. If you had a council had decided to renovate the Ann Hutchinson building, I would suspect you'd have a new senior center standalone by yourself, but that's not what the seniors are going to end up with. And some know that, but a lot of them, I think, don't know that. And that's why I think this was asked to be put on this agenda. And several people asked questions, but we haven't really given them any answers back. And I don't know the answers to give them myself. And I think they deserve that. So can anybody at least answer what the difference is between your senior housing and elderly housing? Are there age restrictions involved? Can I move in there at 50 years old and be a head of a household and bring my kids with me? I don't know. To me, this seems like a new concept for Portsmouth, and I think people just need to know the answers.
Okay. Well, I don't think we're going to have those answers tonight, but we'll follow up and see if we can answer the question about the housing.
So we've had a whole meeting and basically it comes down to what's senior and what's elderly. Okay.
Okay, we're going to move on to our next item, which is our monthly finance report.
Good evening, Mr. President and Honorable Council. As of the end of May, the town was 11 months or 91.6% through fiscal year 2024. Year-to-date general fund revenues were at 95.2% of the total budget. Primary sources are fourth quarter tax receipts, state aid, interest income, and building receipts. Year-to-date general fund expenditures were at 89.1% of the total budget. Discretionary spending will remain frozen through the month of June. We are on track to make the corrected ARC payment in the fourth quarter to the pension fund by June 30. Auditors will be on site for internal control procedures on July 16th and July 17th. We will continue to monitor revenues and expenditures closely over the next couple of months to ensure favorable trends through the end of the fiscal year end. Thank you.
Mr. President, I move that the report be received and placed on file.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Okay. Moving on, next item, it's final approval of proposed FY 25 town budget. The budget's online. So what procedurally here, we have provisional approval of our budget. So we, as a council, we need to approve.
Mr. President, I move approval of the budget as proposed.
Second.
So we have a motion.
Mr. President.
Yeah.
Just comment on two things, please.
Sure.
At the last meeting, at the last public hearing, I want to clarify a
Okay.
statement I made regarding the town's rental of fire hydrants. I was off on my numbers. I want to correct those numbers. I thought it was in the neighborhood of $300 to $350, but in fact, we rent from the Portsmouth Water and Fire at $501 per hydrant, as opposed to Redwood Farms that rents at $1,203 at the Newport Water Department. And then you'll see other communities are anywhere, somewhere in between, and some lower, some higher. The other thing I'd like to do is indulge the council to consider something that won't affect any of the bottom line numbers of the budget, but on one of our enterprise funds, I would like to make a motion that we give the guards at the transfer station a raise. And I bring that to your attention because they make $15.75 an hour. Our summer program for staffing the beach, gate attendants, lifeguards, maintenance, those rates run anywhere from $14.50 to $23.50, looks like the highest level for part-time summer help. I would like to make a motion and ask if you consider it, that we raise their rate to $18 an hour, which
Mr.
would be
President, I would
contained
suggest
by
that
the
that motion is
enterprise,
out of order.
would be in the enterprise fund. We are still allowed to make changes to the,
I don't know that we're making private changes to salary accounts in an enterprise fund. That's what you're asking us to do
Yes.
tonight. Okay, and I'm saying that's out of order. That is not appropriate for the final approval of the budget. That's my suggestion to the council. That is out of order.
okay.
I don't mind giving them a raise. My concern is that it needs to be factored in and we need to. What is the real cost of the $2.25? I think that's what you're, or $3,
Yes.
$2.25
$2 raise.
that you're adding per hour. And the sticker sales that we've had going to do to affect the budget, is that gonna put the enterprise fund in a deficit? Or are we gonna figure flat? So I would prefer to see a spreadsheet before we vote on something like that, just
Fair
so I know where it is.
Fair enough.
Also, I think it's not a good idea to conduct labor negotiations outside of the process that's followed by our town administrator. If the town employees, regardless how they're employed, know that they may receive one answer during negotiations, but that they can then go to a friendly council member and possibly have their salaries changed, it undermines the entire negotiation process. So I think the salaries of town employees, regardless of how they're employed, need to be conducted in a uniform fashion by our town administration, not decided ad hoc by the town council in meeting session.
Thank you for your opinion.
Thank you, Dr. Bryan. Thank you, Mr. Levesque. Thank you, Mr. Hamilton.
And Mr. President, can I make one quick point, Mr. Gleason? And I actually love the water department, think it's very efficient. I think it should be part of the town. Well, you made the issue. City of Newport doesn't tax the people in the town of Portsmouth. The Water and Fire District is a taxing entity. So the fact that they cut us a little slack on the hydrant rate seems to me to be a little queasy. That's just my opinion, as you like to say.
All right.
Thank you for your opinion.
So,
I will withdraw my motion.
okay.
And I'll bring it back through Mr. Rayner.
Okay.
with some data.
Thank you. So we have a motion
Peter.
and a second to approve the town budget. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Mr.
Oh,
President,
hold on.
do we
now.
now have to read the draft ordinance? Can we waive it? Can we ask that we
No,
don't have to?
no,
do it?
this is the
Please,
clerk's,
please.
this is the clerk waits. This
Sure
is
did.
her moment. Would not deny this moment.
Gee, thanks.
Madam Clerk.
Okay. An ordinance relating to the levy and the collection of taxes. Be it ordained that the town council of the town of Portsmouth at a regular town council meeting legally assembled on the 24th day of June, 2024, hereby levies and orders the collection of, 1, a property tax on the rateable real estate and tangible personal property, said levy to be on the assessment made as of the 31st day of December 2023, as subsequently adjusted for new construction or damaged or destroyed buildings according to law. Total taxes prior to any adjustments for subsequent increases or decreases in assessments shall be a sum not more than $64,232,386. Said tax is for ordinary expenses and charges for the payment of interest and indebtedness in whole or in part of said town, for the payment of the town portion of the state tax, and for other purposes as specified in the budget and warrant items approved at this meeting as authorized by law. The said property tax shall be apportioned upon 100% of the assessed valuation as determined by the tax assessor on the 31st day of December 2023 at 12 o'clock midnight, according to law, and any subsequent adjustments to the assessed valuation shall be apportioned on a pro rata basis during the calendar year according to law. The above amount shall be exclusive of veterans exemptions and for those for the elderly as provided by law at the time of tax rolls are certified. The maximum gross property tax levy of $64,232,386 does not exceed the 4% tax levy cap. The fiscal year 2025 tax levies have excluded motor vehicle excise tax for the purpose of determining tax levy growth pursuant to Article 11 of 2017 H 5175 Sub A as amended. The tax assessor shall, upon completion of said assessment, date, certify, and sign the same and deliver to and deposit the same in the office of the town clerk. The town clerk, on receipt of said assessment, shall forthwith make a copy of the same and deliver it to the finance director in their capacity as treasurer, who shall forthwith issue and affix to said copy a warrant under their hand directed to the collector of taxes of said town, commanding them to proceed and collect said taxes of the persons and estates liable therefore. Said taxes shall be due and payable on and between the first day of July and the first day of September 2024, and all taxes remaining unpaid on said first day of September 2024 shall carry until collected a penalty at the rate of 12% per annum upon the real estate and tangible personal property. Said taxes may be paid in 4 installments. The first installment to be 25% on or before the first day of September 2024, and the remaining installments as follows: 25% on the first day of December 2024, 25% on the first day of March 2025, 25% on the first day of June 2025. A grace period of 7 business days shall be extended for each installment period. Each installment of taxes, if paid on or before the last day of each installment period successively and in order, shall be free from any charge for interest. If the first installment or any succeeding installments of taxes is not paid by the last date of the respective installment period or periods as they occur, then the whole tax or remaining unpaid balance of tax as the case may be, shall immediately become due and payable and carry until collected a penalty at the rate of 12% per annum. Provided, however, that the option to pay said taxes in equal quarterly installments shall not apply to any tax levied in the amount not in excess of $100, in which case the tax shall be payable in a single installment. Whenever there is a subsequent adjustment to said assessment because of new construction or damaged or destroyed buildings, the resulting addition or decreased taxes shall be administered, due, payable, and collectible in accordance with sections 44-5-13.13 and 44-5-13.14 of the general laws of Rhode Island as amended and any ordinance of the town of Portsmouth. Be it ordained further that the town council of the town of Portsmouth at a regular town council meeting on the 24th of June, 2024, hereby orders that the tax assessor of this town shall assess and apportion a property tax on the inhabitants and the rateable real estate and tangible personal property of the town of Portsmouth as of the 31st day of December, 2023 at 12 o'clock midnight, according to law, assess and apportion adjustments to property taxes on new construction or removal of damaged or destroyed buildings in the town of Portsmouth according to law. Ordained that the budget amended carrying a gross appropriation of $74,404,959, together with the following order in the accounting of refunds, state aid, federal aid, or other credits not specifically stated in the foregoing budget, that the town treasurer be directed to credit such funds to the department concerned, and such funds are hereby appropriated by the town council at a regular meeting on June 24th, 2024, for the use of departments concerned, provided, however, that such receipts for the school department budget be accepted. Ordained that the town treasurer is authorized on behalf of the town of Portsmouth to issue notes in anticipation of the receipt of taxes levied in this fiscal year as authorized by section 45-12-4 of the Rhode Island General Laws, 1956, as amended, the outstanding principal amount of which at any one time shall not exceed the amount permitted by section 45-12-4 of the Rhode Island General Laws, 1956, as amended. The notes shall be signed by the town treasurer in their capacity as Director of Finance and countersigned by the President of the Town Council. The notes shall contain such terms, conditions, and details and bear such date or dates and mature at such time or times from their date of issuance as the town treasurer may determine. Ordained that the books and accounts of all departments handling the town funds be audited by the State Bureau of Audits or by an independent certified public accountant for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2024. Ordained further that all monies collected by the town clerk and the tax collector be turned over to the town treasurer monthly or at more frequent intervals as accumulations may warrant. Gross appropriations, $74,404,959, less estimated school receipts / state aid of $7,274,045, less estimated miscellaneous general fund receipts of $3,259,620, leaving to be raised by taxes $63,871,294, less estimated prior years and prorated collections of $1,325,000, plus estimated uncollectible spread of $1,686,092, maximum tax levy $64,232,368. Kevin M. Aguirre, Town Council President.
$86.
86?
$86.
$86, sorry.
All right, that was it, just the 86. That was good.
There you go.
Mr. President, I move that we adopt the ordinance relating to the levy and collection of taxes.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
And I don't have
Thank
to do it for another year.
Unless you're
All
waiting
right,
until
thank
then.
you, Madam Clerk. Okay. Let's move on. So next, it's new business. First item is the vacant town council seat appointment. Dr. Ryan has this on the agenda.
Right, this is pro forma, obviously, we have a vacancy in the town council. There are only 7 of us under optimal circumstances. If people have to leave because of family obligations, trips, whatever, it would be better if we filled the vacant seat so that we can achieve a quorum if it's needed. So the last time we did this, I believe we advertised for anybody who was interested in being appointed to fill the vacancy. And then once we received responses at the next town council meeting, we would then appoint one of the people who was interested to fill the vacant seat.
That's exactly how we had to fill it the last time after.
Right.
Mr. Buttermeyer stepped
Right.
down. So
Since that was my only experience with this situation, that's what I thought we should probably do.
past practice is good.
Exactly.
So if that were the case, we could advertise. Our next meeting is July 8th, so that there's really not a lot of time for that. But if we could advertise, have the applications due by the end of July, that would give the council time prior to our August 12th meeting to review and make an appointment on the August 12th meeting.
August 13th.
I am presuming
Wait a
that the
How-
person,
Is, okay, but I think our future meetings, then we gotta, it says, future meeting says the 12th.
Is that VJ Day?
So if it's,
So that-
is it, so it is the 13th, that's just, the agenda is off then, so August 13th.
Victory over something day.
right.
Okay. And-
Now, I assume that the person appointed is able to sit immediately upon appointment, right?
As soon as Jen,
Yeah.
we just
Yeah.
swarm in.
It's, yep.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, good. So
Assuming
they'd
they're
only
here.
miss one meeting.
Yes.
Assuming they're in the building.
Well,
And Mr. President, may I make a point of order? We do have from the same vacancy and absence in the vice chair.
Yes.
So could I ask that that be put on the next council agenda?
Yes, we can put that on the next,
Thank
on July 8th council agenda.
I have a question
That
as
doesn't-
well. Just in fairness to Mr. Katzman, if he chose to, has he been offered a leave of absence? If it works for him. I know it has been done for other councils in the past. I think it would be something we should ask him. I'd be surprised if he would take it, but some people want to hold their positions that way and, maybe on the right
Very
side.
thoughtful, Mr. Gleason, but I've
Very
spoken to him on several occasions and he seems committed to the path that he has laid out. But he may be watching. He probably is.
Sure.
So I'm sure he appreciates your sentiment.
That's just
I think,
being fair, that's all.
yeah, no, I think technically though, he already resigned.
He already
officially,
resigned. Yeah.
Rather than asking for. a leave of
That's right.
absence,
I'm
but
sorry.
yes, but
Yeah.
I do appreciate the thought as well.
Yes.
kindness is never wasted.
All right. I think now, so that'll be the process. We'll put the advertisement out and we'll look to, is it the 13th?
It is the
All right, so
13th.
the agenda's just wrong, August 13th. Okay. Okay. All right. So then I think this is the, new business number 2 is the hot topic here. Mr. Hamilton?
Oh, is that me?
I'm gonna, what's this agenda item? In accordance with section 205 of the town charter, it's a request to change
So
the annual
the-
compensation.
The council for, since, God, mid-90s, I would assume, has been under 1,500 for the president and 1,200 for the other counselors. I am just simply making a request that a future, it wouldn't be for this council, so it wouldn't take effect until July of next year, which would be a future council to be voted on in November, that the pays be raised from 3,000 for the president and 2,000 for other counselors. It's not a huge amount of money, but maybe it in the next 2 days, it encourages a few people to throw their hats into the ring to come be a town councilor.
And your reason for delaying into July is because it's not in the current budget?
No, because this council, yeah, well, yes, because it's not in this current budget and this council can't give themselves a raise, so
That's
it has to be for the next council.
I'll
But it's
second the
also
motion.
not in the, it's not also, it's not in the, yeah, it's not in the budget. It's not a, it takes the current line item from 8,700 to 15,000. It's not, could we find the money? Yes, but I don't want to do that.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that when I was on the council in 88, it was the same amount of money. I used to get a check for like $43, and you might be happy to know I spent it down the Portuguese Club.
I think they paid you guys in sesterces back then.
All right, so we have a motion and a second for this item. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Mr. Lebec was the second?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, let's move on to number 3. It's a request to advertise for a public hearing for changes, additions to the littering ordinance, chapter 243. Mr. Gleason?
Thank you. This is something that was requested by the Portsmouth Harbor Commission. I know it's been a while since last July, a year. That it was brought to this council's attention about different bad behaviors at some areas in Portsmouth. Not unlike previous councils, I remember addressing this with Mr. Klim at one point and when Mr. Rayner first got on board. But the thoughts was the commission formed a subcommittee and they looked at other towns and cities around Rhode Island and figure out what they do with ordinance wise for some of their issues, you know, whether it be alcohol consumption in public or littering or other issues, but this is the one that they focused in on. I did leave a copy with the planner. I don't think it's perfect by any means. I have had a brief conversation with Chief Peters about it. He has some concerns, but at this point, I'm just asking that it be heard by the general public as a public hearing. And I would make a motion to move forward with that.
I'll second it for a quick discussion. Do we want to? I don't know how far we want to have it massaged by our planning staff, police staff, and the solicitor to make sure it's
Doable.
perfect. It's not gonna be perfect. The hardest part with littering ordinances is you gotta catch somebody physically doing that.
Right.
That's right.
That's it, and it sucks.
But
know,
you also need the verbiage to back you up.
Right.
When you do so.
And the other thing that has happened in the past when we do catch people is just go clean it up. I'm with you that there needs to be some punitive measures done so people stop doing this. I mean, as simple as how many nips can you find on the side of the road? So,
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this month was the first time that the magistrate at the municipal court, or municipal court judge, heard about a littering complaint. And he was like, what do I do with this? Because it's a minor offense typically, but in a lot of ways it really isn't.
affects us all.
So I don't have a problem with massaging it by other groups, but I figured, you know, after a month period, we wouldn't be able to hear it till sometime in August anyways.
So you want to set it for
Yeah,
the second meeting in August?
Yeah, I think the purpose of this is mainly deterrence. We want to have some way of making it more of a, basically more of a threat to people who are going to be careless and throw stuff where they want to. And if that means we can post signs saying that there's a fine or whatever, but I think consulting Chief Peters and our planning department would help us kind of shape those measures so that they are maximally effective. And we're not looking on this obviously as a way of increasing town revenue, but as a way of deterring people from throwing garbage around.
Right.
So we'd like to know we'd like to have some thinking. What's the most effective way of doing that?
Sure. Again, like, just to point out 243-1, if you look at our codification book, it's 2 paragraphs. This would make it 5, you know, I mean, and basically it increases the fines because we end up relying on state law. So it gives the municipal court judge an opportunity to hand over a bigger fine up to and including, potential community service, which may or may not work, but, it just gives more options. So.
As you know, I had some apprehension, Mr. President, I had some apprehension about this referral in the outset. I had not had any discussion, but I do note, and perhaps all of you do note, that along with this item, there was a correspondence from our solicitor indicating, if I read it correctly, that the entire area is currently under the authority of a Rhode Island general law, very comprehensively, it sounds like, and rest jurisdiction, it seems, in the traffic tribunal. Not where I would put it, but nonetheless, that's where it is. It strikes me therefore, and I may be overreading what I see here, that we're somewhat preempted by what the state has already done. And that we probably wouldn't be able to refer it to municipal court, which is not a bad idea, without some authority from the state government. Is that a fair reading of what you wrote, Mr. Gavin?
Except the preemption, I think my point was that there's no need for it because it's comprehensively regulated in the state law. The first thing that would come to mind is possible preemption, but there is a provision in the state
Could you
law.
get closer to the
There is a
microphone?
provision in the state law that talks about that says the Department of Environmental Management should encourage municipalities, I forget the exact wording, but encourage municipalities to adopt ordinances that are consistent. So I mean, I think theoretically that provision would indicate an intent of the General Assembly not to preempt local ordinances. But so theoretically, we could amend our ordinances to sort of duplicate state law. But I don't see that would really give us any more teeth, because right now the town, local officials and law enforcement agencies are authorized to enforce the state law. It's just a question of traffic tribunal versus having the option for municipal court. And if there is a process for ordering, for a judge to order a person to clean up beaches or pick up litter, then the administrative burdens of that would go with the traffic tribunal versus the town. So it's just logistical and practical concerns, but yeah, so I believe, I don't think the town is preempted, but I question whether there's a need.
And again, I apologize because my hearing aids have not been working. Is the reference to the traffic tribunal at all a problem for this particular? Does our town municipal court have authority over the area of littering?
Our enabling authority for municipal court authorizes the municipal court to hear any zoning ordinances. I mean, not zoning ordinance, any town ordinances. So I think there would be a choice. If we duplicated the state law or had a similar, beefed up, expanded our ordinances to be more similar to the state law, chapter 3715, then I think we'd have an option of enforcing our ordinance or enforcing state law. And to enforce the ordinance, we could go to municipal court. To enforce the state law, we'd go to traffic tribunal.
Okay, and I think it has percentages of what goes back to the community from any sort of enforcement. But if it were a municipal court, whatever enforcement actions were taken would be entirely within the town's office. Is that a fair statement?
I would think so, yes.
Okay. All right, so if we pass this ordinance, pass this request, you'll be able to hammer those things out for us?
Well, for working with the police chief, with police department, town planner, but my inclination, at least speaking right here and now, would be inclined to make it substantially similar to chapter 3715.
And your read on our enabling legislation, if we could just double check that to make sure we have the ability to
do these types of fines. I know we specifically went in for ordinances and we didn't do traffic. But
There's a catch-all for,
Okay.
there's a thing for zoning, there's a thing for housing, minimum housing, and then other town ordinances,
Okay.
so. The municipal court has authority
yeah, just in case we had to
we,
add that next session,
no,
if we
I
needed
think
to.
we're all set there.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of lawyers speak here, but I will say in my conversations with Chief Peters, he thought there was a worthy move going forward. It did need some tweaking. And he talked about how things could be handled in the traffic tribunal, but the latest case was going to the municipal court. And it offers you a little bit more options, I guess, and what you can do. The judge can say, and maybe you can keep the fines here in town. But again, it needs a little bit more vetting than us amateurs did. But I think one of the important things is to have a definition in there that says what littering is, you know, and it cut, you know, rather than just grouping it and say, oh, this person was littering, and you know, we raise different finite areas that can be pinpointed to enforce. And I realize, you know, it has to be, you know, I am optimistic in this, but, you know, somebody has to witness that piece of paper left behind, the person leaves the scene to even report that. And that's, you know, a headache in itself. But again, the Harbor Commission has been trying to, you know, they've met with the town. We know our ordinances are weak. We're waiting for somebody to do something. And in absence of people, you know, I know she's around the corner, can see me. She's busy already. But we do need some help on our ordinances. This is just a shot in the dark to start with this one. So,
Mr. Gleason, if I could, and again, I apologize if I repeat something you said, or, I believe actually the police indicated one of the real difficulties in enforcement when they were here. I think you were saying the paper's left over there, even if they see somebody walking away from it, they don't know necessarily that the person walking away is the one who dropped
they
the
have
paper.
to witness that person drop it and then walk away from it.
The
That's
other
what I
thing
was
is, I
alluding
will
to.
tell you that, I mean, our police officers go where the law requires them to, but I do know from experience that they never have liked going over to Cranston to the traffic tribunal. I accept it, particularly now that Murphy's is closed in East Providence and they can't really get over there because that's the best roast beef in the town.
We don't want them going there anyways.
Yeah.
So,
Too much money.
but again, and I will say that when it comes back, however it comes back, I will suggest a citation, not in the nature of a penalty at the outset. And I just believe sometimes people just do not think. And I prefer not penalizing somebody, but if we keep track of it somehow, or it's clearly an egregious violation, we can do it. But I don't want a town citizen or even a visitor to our town, you know, saying what we used to say in Newport, come on vacation, leave on probation.
Okay. So,
We need to select a date.
yeah.
So a second meeting in August.
I don't think we've approved it yet. You made a second for a
Right.
discussion.
We just did, but we just want to put the date on your motion. That's all.
That's fine.
So the August 26th meeting?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Unfortunately, it's not going to do a lot for the summer.
No.
But it'll get us a good kick point for next spring.
Okay.
Right.
Better late than
Fine.
never.
Right.
So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Next,
Thank
we
you.
have correspondence.
Move that they be received and placed on file.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Okay, future meetings. July 8th is our next regular council meeting. July 22nd has been canceled, followed by August 13th at the town council meeting and August 26th council meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?